Hi everyone, this is Sunny Game. Let me give you a quick introduction to this plugin. First, open the PSD editor and choose the PSD file. The PSD file can be stored anywhere. It does not need to be inside the Unity project. I put it here for convenience in this demo. After opening it, you'll see a preview page. Here you can rename nodes and modify other settings. We'll explain those settings in more detail later. Click here to switch TMP on or off. You can configure its initial state in the advanced settings. Then click Export to export the prefab. If this pop-up appears, it means the font used in the PSD file is not installed. We can ignore it for now and set it up later. This is the exported result. Now let's configure the font and export again. Because the font was changed, the comparison window appears. On the left is the current state of the prefab. On the right is the state about to be exported. If there are not changes in the prefab that you want to keep, just click Fresh Overwrite. If there are changes you want to keep, click Apply Write Component to select the parts you want to re-export from the PSD. Then choose Apply Incremental Selection. Here I'll just click Fresh Overwrite. Now the font is applied. Let's check the exported images under the default settings. All images that meet the slicing conditions are exported as sliced images. And identical images are only exported once. You can adjust the slicing settings and deduplication settings in the options. You may notice that these images all have an ID suffix. This is to make sure every image name is unique. If you uncheck auto naming, the tool will use the PSD node names instead. If there are duplicate names, it will warn you and automatically rename them by appending 1, 2 to the name. Here the tool shows duplicate node names. If you do not like this set of automatic naming rules, you can rename them in the PSD editor. In everyday development, we often need to reuse images. For that reason, this plugin provides a common directory deadup feature. To simulate that process, I'll randomly choose a few images, place them into a folder, and add that folder as a common directory. Now let's delete the prefab and exported images, then export again. We can see that the image is referenced by the common directory, and they are not re-exported individually. To facilitate the subsequent demonstration, I will first check the auto-naming option. Next, let's talk about the comparison window. After exporting, we often make changes to the prefab to simulate that process. So I'll modify a few things here. I'll also change a few things in the PSD file. Clicking a node lets you view the difference details. If you want to keep the existing version, do not click Apply Write Component. For deleted nodes, you can also choose to keep them. But if the layer no longer exists in the PSD, keeping it may result in a blank image. I won't make a selection just yet. I'll simply click Apply. As you can see, all of our previous changes have been preserved, and the newly added and deleted layers in the PSD file have also been applied. If you choose to apply Write Component, they will restore it to its original state, so you can safely modify the PSD file without worrying about affecting the local prefab. Now let's look at some other features. I'll first undo the changes a mod to the PSD file. Export controls whether a node is exported. Visible controls whether the node is visible in the export. When I uncheck Export options, the node has not been exported. Use External Prefab lets you replace a node with another prefab. I'll just randomly select a prefab I created earlier. You can see that the previous node has transformed into the prefab I selected. Merge for Export lets you merge all child nodes into one image. Let me find a group to demonstrate it to you. You can see that they have been merged into a single image. Single Export lets you export one image separately. Export Prefab lets you export a prefab. Since this node has been converted into a prefab, a discrepancy has arisen here. Alright, this node has been exported as a prefab. You can view it in the directory. Custom Sprite lets you replace a node with a custom image. Let me randomly select an image. For the sake of a quick demonstration, I'll simply click Fresh Overwrite. This image was applied directly to this node. Type offers many options and allows different components to be added to exported nodes. Different types have different parameters, so I won't demonstrate them here. The next few settings should be explained together. For each node, the tool first loads its image data. Based on that image data, it groups together nodes that look the same. Then it chooses one representative node. By default, it picks the node with the highest resolution. Slice and common deadup applied to the representative node will also apply to the other nodes in the same group. For example, among these three watering cans, the largest one will be exported. Its current resolution is 130 × 108. If you do not want the highest resolution image to be exported, you can choose another node yourself. Just enable Primary DETUP node. That node will become the exported one. Now its current resolution is 111 × 92. If you want one node to be hand-led separately, or if the algorithm incorrectly treats one node as identical to another, you can disable Same Export DETUP. For example, if I turn it off for this node, two watering cans will be generated. One is exported separately, and among the other two, the higher resolution one is exported. For images in the common directory, if common directory DETUP is enabled, and the node matches an image in the common directory, it will be replaced directly. These are the images that were previously deduplicated using the common directory. If you do not want a certain image to be replaced by a common image, just disable common directory DETUP for that node. Then it will be exported to its own folder. Slice 9 Slice and Custom Slice params are used to configure whether a node undergoes slicing, specifically, whether to apply custom parameters during the slicing process. This concept is quite straightforward, so I won't demonstrate it here. The deduplication algorithm is very important in this project. You can adjust its parameters, but don't make them too small. Otherwise, many images that look the same, but only differ in size, may fail to deduplicate correctly. Let me give you a demonstration when I turn it down to the minimum. You can see that many images that appear identical have been exported multiple times. It is crucial to properly configure the MAE parameters. You can use test DETUP to image to calculate the difference between two images and confirm the MAE value. The MAE values for these two images are very small, only 0.007. As long as you set the MAE threshold to a value greater than this, they will be regarded as the same. Incidentally, this algorithm may occasionally cause images with very minor differences to be treated as identical. In such cases, you can uncheck Same Export DETUP on the node to exclude it from the deduplication process. All node-related settings, including name, visibility, and others, are stored in stu2netui or stconfig. If you want to start over, just delete that file and re-import the PSD. Finally, let me mention the current limitations of this project. For PSD files, the tool currently supports only gradient overlay and color overlay. Other effects are not supported. For other effects, you will need to merge the layers yourself. In addition, for clipping layers and mask layers, their effects are directly applied to the corresponding layer. If the exported image is not what you want, or if the result looks incorrect, you may need to manually merge layers in the PSD file. This solves most problems. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact me.